Hi, I'm Tracy Kropp.
And I'm Katie Blossom.
We're the Family Aftercare Coordinators at Life Connection of Ohio. On behalf of Life Connection of Ohio, Sovita, and Lions Eye Bank of West Central Ohio, welcome to our 2023 virtual celebration of life. We are honored to recognize the compassion and generosity of you, our donor families, and also our donor heroes who have given the gift of hope and life to others.
During today's virtual event, a special candlelighting ceremony will be held in remembrance of those who gave the gift of life and hope. Organ, tissue, and cornea recipients will share stories of gratitude, and a photo tribute featuring donor heroes will be shown.
I would like to introduce you to Matthew Wadsworth, Life Connection of Ohio's President and CEO, Reg Dawson, Sovita's Executive Director, and Shannon Schweitzer, Lions Eye Bank of West Central Ohio's Executive Director.
Thank you for joining our virtual celebration of life. We appreciate the opportunity to recognize your generosity during what must have been one of the most difficult times in your life. We are honored to celebrate your loved one and their life-saving legacy.
We hope you find comfort in the powerful stories of those who have been personally touched by donation. Your loved one lives on in grateful recipients and will never be forgotten.
We are honored to come together to recognize your loved one's gift of life and hope. They are truly heroes.
Please join us now as we light a candle to acknowledge your grief and remember your loved one. You may light the candle from your Celebration of Life kit or one of your own. We will light one candle for your memories, one for your love, and one for your hope.
This candle is in memory of your loved one. May you remember the times you laughed, cried, argued, and loved together. This candle is the light of love. May you cherish the special place in your heart that will always be reserved for your loved one. And this is the candle for hope. May the glow of the flame be your source of comfort.
You will now hear messages from transplant recipients who are forever grateful to heroes like your loved one.
Hi, I'm Narquisha Johnson.
Hi, I'm Tater Hicks. I had small bowel liver package transplant 13 years ago.
Tater was born premature at 25 weeks, weighing 1 pound, 13 and a half ounces. He was just this little thing. Looked like a little peanut, but that's how I got his name, Tater Tot. He was a little thing. He ended up catching necrotizing enterocolitis that destroyed majority of his small intestines, leaving him with 58 centimeters of his lower intestine. Then he required TPN and lipids, which destroyed his liver. So we end up on the small bowel, liver, and pancreas transplant waiting list. So Tater had a lot of issues throughout his life. He had 2 major airway surgeries, over 100 surgeries in total. I stopped counting at 100. It was just too many to keep up with. But he couldn't eat by mouth. He couldn't use the bathroom. He had an ileostomy. He had all kind of feeding tubes and wound vacs from having so many different surgeries. Well, before transplant, he was a African American but yellow boy. His eyes was yellow, ears was yellow. We have a lot of pictures where he was yellow, but it was like immediately after he got his transplant, his color started to come back. It was amazing to see that it happened so fast. Like it was amazing to see the change so quickly. Thank God he don't remember a whole lot, but I do, unfortunately. It was tough seeing him not be able to do things that a normal child should be able to do. His first time coming home, he was 8 months, and then he was hospitalized every month thereafter until he received his transplant, and that's when our life changed. After transplant, I mean, he was able to walk free. I always say free. Like before transplant, he was always hooked up to an IV pole, and his feeding pole. He had a book bag he had to carry, and after that, you know, he was able to get rid of his feeding tube. He was able to get rid of his central lines. He had abdominal surgery where they was able to close up everything, and he a normal kid. He was able to play without me saying, like, be careful, we don't want your feeding tube to get caught on your bicycle, which happened before. Like, but yeah, he was just able to do normal kid stuff, play, have fun. We was able to plan vacations, which we could never do because we didn't know when he was gonna be in the hospital. Like I said, he was in the hospital every month. Like, it could be 2 days at a time, 3 days, 3 months, 6 months this time. He's home for 1 day and right back. Holidays, the hospital. My family had to bring Thanksgiving to the hospital and go home. Christmas, hospital. It was tough. But after that, we was finally able to, you know, have family trips. The first Thanksgiving at home was awesome. He was able to actually eat and enjoy the food because, like I said, he had a feeding tube, and boy, can he still eat. he can eat like crazy. As a mother, knowing that your child is going to pass away without getting a transplant, it's hard. Of course, you don't want your child to die. And then you feel guilty because you know that somebody else's child has to pass in order for yours to live. So it is tough. To the donor families, this is what happens when you make that decision, that heroic decision to say yes to organ transplantation, to be a donor. It saves lives. Like my son, they sent us home and said, you know, it's nothing else we can do. Without the transplant, he won't live. And just thank you for saying yes.
I'm grateful because I could play basketball and do a lot of stuff that I couldn't do when I was younger. And I get to do favorite activities like drawing, going out of town more, and graduating, getting a car soon, and a successful life. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Carlos Murguia. I'm a happy and lucky recipient for the gift of life. I'm a father of 6 children. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Sharon. And in fall of 2016, playing basketball with my college friends, I suffered an accident and I broke my back. Back then I didn't know it was having those incidents. But in January of 2017, I had to visit ER due to the fact that I wasn't able to walk again. So I was transported from the ER to a specific hospital, and it was a very darkness moment in my life because I was thinking that I would not be able to walk again. Luckily and thankfully for a procedure that happened, I have bone graft implant with another instrumentation in my spine in between the lumbar and the sacrum. I have to learn to walk again. I have to learn how to even stand up. And after physical therapy, I was able to reincorporate again into my day-to-day life activities that I have. This year is actually the 6 years mark after that surgery. And I'm very lucky to say that I'm very happy to say that I've been coming back on doing the same things that I was doing before, enjoying my children, enjoying my granddaughters, walking, running, even sometimes going back and play basketball again with my colleagues. So that's part of my story today. When the surgery happened, I was not really aware of that this solution exists and the beauty of extending the gift of life from others exists. I didn't know that it was something that we have national-wise. So when I was discharged from the hospitals and I find out that it was a bone donor as part of that procedure, it was very emotional. Very emotional because the Life for Mother helped me to get back on track and walk again. Back then, I didn't know that Solvita exists as a local tissue establishment. In 2019, I took the decision to join Solvita, and because the gift of life, it was part of that, changed my life. That was a perfect flow to take the decision to incorporate and help them to enhance and save lives. For the families that have been lost a loved one, we show our gratitude because it's the right thing to do in very difficult moments, as I say, in very darkest moments. With the gift of life, you show the brightness and the light for continue our lives together. Thank you so much.
My name is Cheryl Habel, and in October of 2020, I became a cornea transplant recipient. I was an English teacher, and a couple of my students were teasing me about how close I had to sit to the computer monitor. They actually kind of teased me that I needed glasses, and it wasn't that big of a deal. They said, you know, Habel, it's really not that big of a deal. You can go get glasses so you can see a little bit and not have to sit with your nose on the computer screen. And so that actually prompted me to begin my journey of going to an eye doctor. I'd never done that before. And in processes, I found out I have a degenerative eye disease called keratoconus, and my corneas basically were misshapen and would continue to degenerate and get worse. And so I was very fortunate and found a fabulous eye doctor who took me on my journey and said, basically, I was definitely at the point where I could have a cornea transplant, and he would help me, manage as long as I could if I chose to do that. And it was my decision when to have a cornea transplant, but that was really the only option to improve my sight. And so in October of 2020, even with COVID happening, I was fortunate enough to be able to have a cornea transplant. I had reached the point where the best that they could get my vision at that point with a corrective lens was 2200 on a good day. At that point, my daughter was in the Navy and my son had gotten married, and actually I have a grandson who was born in 2020. And so at that point, it was time for me to go ahead and have the cornea transplant. And when you hear the gift of sight, you don't really realize how true that is. My doctor was phenomenal in educating me. And when I made that choice, it's kind of cliche, but it was eye-opening because it was phenomenal, the sight that I now have and that I had almost immediately afterwards. Shockingly, 2020. So I am just so grateful every day for my donor and for the fabulous team that I had in taking me through that journey. I am extremely fortunate in a strange sort of way, in that in 1993, my 18-year-old brother was killed in a car wreck, and he was a tissue donor. And so I was very fortunate. Kind of my life has come full circle in that I then, I then needed a tissue transplant, but it truly makes such a difference in others' lives. And I personally I cannot express enough how grateful I am to my donor and for that donation. I have a now 3-year-old grandson that it's amazing how much I can see that he is currently doing, that when my son was a teenager playing ball, I was not able to see. So I really appreciate the change that it's made in my life. Again, I just cannot express enough the heartfelt thank you for the donation from your loved one and the way that it has changed my vision and made an impact, not just on myself, but on those that I love. Thank you.
It's an honor to join you now to see the names and faces of the heroes of donation.
Thank you for my donor angel for he or she saving my life.
Thank you. Merci. Parabéns. Gracias. Obrigado.
Thank you so much for the gift of sight.
As our program draws to a close, we want to remind you there are many avenues for continued support and volunteer involvement. You may reach out to aftercare@lifeconnection.org with any questions. In a few days, you will receive our survey via email. Please take a few minutes to share your feedback. We value your opinion and will use it to improve future donor recognition ceremonies.
During our virtual celebration, we shared recipient stories and an outpouring of gratitude for your loved one's selfless gift of life and hope. Please remember, you are not alone. We will continue to be here and companion you along your grief journey. We wish you peace, strength, and comfort today and always.